Today, we're talking about one of the most recognized, biggest brands in car audio. It's 4 letters, and it's called Sony. In fact, Sony has a fantastic offering in the car audio range, including a brand new launch of their GS series speakers. Today, we've got their product expert, KRIS BULLA, in the studio with us to give us all the deets. This is CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM, all about Sony, and it starts now. What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and as promised, we're talking about Sony. Yes, the brand that touches everything from theaters to your dream machine alarm clock. But are we ever blessed that we have this brand within our car audio industry as they continue to develop an amazing product that everybody gets the benefit from? Now, on today's show, we're going to be focusing in on their car audio selection. And in that sense, we have a brand new series we're going to talk about in their speaker range called GS. Now, KRIS, give us a breakdown real quick. What are we going to be covering on today's car audio session?
Hey, Ben, KRIS BULLA from Sony here. I love being with you guys and sharing Sony information and product kind of announcements with you guys on the CMA Networks channel. This is pretty awesome stuff. Today, we're going to be talking about our Sony GS reintroduction. We've got a whole new speaker lineup that's supplemented with some subwoofers that helps kind of flush out our Sony GS product lineup from our head units now to our amplifiers and now to these brand new speakers and subs that we've just launched.
KRIS, I gotta love it. Every time you come in and talk about new product, it gets me excited, and that means it gets you guys, the dealers, excited as well. But before we get into it too deep, a quick message from our partner SiriusXM reminding you dealers out there why you should love it. And when we come back, let's learn all about these brand new GS series of speakers and more from Sony.
Hey guys, Ricky Lima here from SiriusXM. I had a chance to speak to some dealers and ask them what they love about selling SiriusXM. Here's what they had to say.
Coast-to-coast coverage.
I love SiriusXM for commercial-free music.
It's a great add-on sale and a profit opportunity.
We love selling SiriusXM because you can listen to the same channel coast to coast.
Profitability and ease of installation. It's a no-brainer.
We love selling SiriusXM for its ease of installation, great profitability, and reliability.
People love it.
All right, everybody, thanks for coming back. We're going to get right into it with our guest here today, KRIS BULLA. Now, KRIS, I've said it. Let's talk about it. Brand new full line of speakers called GS series that really help complement that GS line. But I'm going to give you the mic over here so you can tell us all about this new line of speakers.
Yeah, Ben, listen, this is a great complement to the Mobile ES series speakers that we introduced several years ago. So we kind of reinvented the way that we were designing product when we started redesigning the Mobile ES for that launch that was back in 2021. And what we did was with this new GS lineup, we stripped off some of the beauty parts and scaled back some of the product kind of material to try to hit a more budget-friendly kind of speaker lineup for the customers. But still, kind of power it with that same technology, the same engineering prowess that we have on the speaker design, and also give the high reliability and durability that consumers and retailers expect out of us for this products. So what I want to show off today is some of that trickle down engineering that we've carried over from our Mobile ES lineup into these new GS products. So on the screen now, you see an up close beauty shot of our GS 6.5-inch speaker. It's our coax speaker. It's the XS160 GS. And what that does, what we're showing on the screen here, is it's got the air diffuser that is carried over from those ES speakers. So it's a great design that helps keep our speakers cool while they're playing back. You know that heat is, of course, the enemy of good sound and accuracy. So we want to make sure we minimize that as much as possible. So this design carries right over from those ES series speakers. And the design of the tweeter and the shape and everything is exactly the same. The only difference here is you'll see there's a different material for the tweeter here. This is a silk tweeter, and we have a silk hybrid on the Mobile ES series that gives it just a little bit different sound. So same high quality and great engineering parts within the speaker. A couple cool features that I want to point out. We've got the composite polymer cone on these speakers. It's, we take everything just to a little bit higher level. It's not just a standard plastic cone. What we've done is we've sandwiched two pieces of plastic with a foam between them to help reduce the resonance of that actual cone material. So it's pretty awesome stuff. That silk soft dome tweeter I mentioned a few minutes ago, just a great little design sitting on top of that air diffuser on that coax speaker. We also have these in a 162 GS component set as well. So lots of cool kind of innovation just in this kind of OEM slash upgrade level speaker lineup. Foam rubber surround for high durability. A lot of these goes in door panels or behind some panels that may have some exposure to weather. So the rubber surround with that polymer cone really give a lot of high durability and reliability long term in the vehicle. That's of course backed by our 3-year warranty. So the customer has a lot of confidence putting these in the vehicle, and the retailer too should have a lot of confidence that these are not going to fail. And Sony stands behind the engineering and the application of that engineering to these speakers. That progressive rate spider is another carryover piece from our Mobile ES series. That it's actually a really unique spider because what it does is as the power increases to that speaker, it actually tightens up a little bit more to help control the cone with a little bit more accuracy. So lots of really cool over-engineered parts within this, very budget-friendly lineup. Here's a very cool kind of cutaway design. This is our 160 GS speaker. It's our 6.5-inch coax. It shows you the cutaway of both the tweeter on top, coming down through that air diffuser, that progressive rate spider that is right in the middle there, the composite polymer cone, and of course that heat resistant voice coil that we've engineered into this really great little package. Doesn't do much good to have great sounding speakers or speakers that last forever if they can't fit into anything, right? So what we've done is really tried to minimize both the depth of the speaker and the protrusion. So we actually started this with our Mobile ES series that we previously launched, where we spent a lot of time focusing on how to get the products into a vehicle more effectively. So this 6.5 that you see on the left there is actually a shallow mount 6.5. It's much more shallow than the rest of our speaker lineup. It's a 1.875 or 1 5/8 inch depth from the mounting surface and a 0.65 inch protrusion from the top. The 6x9 on the right hand side, of course, is a little bit deeper. It's a bigger magnet and bigger structure supporting that bigger speaker. But the protrusion height on that is only a 1/2 inch, which matches our Mobile ES series speakers as well. Next up is just a kind of a picture of one of the speakers. I wanted to show the XS160 GS off because it's a great looking speaker. It's going to be high reliability because of that 3-year warranty. We believe in it. The technology that we've applied to it is going to last for a long time and sound great. Very good power handling. So the RMS power rating of 45 watts with a peak power rating of 250 watts allows you to put this even just as a speaker upgrade for a standard head unit, OEM or aftermarket, but it also makes a great complement to our Sony GS amplifiers, which we'll talk about in just a little bit here. Great frequency response on these, high sensitivity rating on them, and that 4 ohm nominal impedance makes these an application for almost any car. Showing you the XS162 GS up close here, just because I want to show off one of the coolest features. Obviously, the specs all match our 160 GS, so no difference there. But the three, tweeters that you see in that picture are the 3 different mounting options for them. And I want to kind of show these up close for a second. That top tweeter that you see in that picture there is how the tweeter comes standard. That does have an M4 mounting stud capability on the back. So if you're trying to put this into an OEM application behind some A-pillars or behind a door panel, you can certainly use a bracket with that stud poking through the back to screw that tweeter onto that mounting bracket. So easy enough there. But then on the bottom left, you're going to see our angled mount. Okay, so what you'll do is you'll set that tweeter directly on top of that. You'll screw that plate down, and then that M4 stud goes in the back to hold it to that plate. Next up on the bottom right is a cup. And what that cup does is it gives that same exact tweeter on the top the ability to be flush mounted. So you'll cut your hole for your flush mount cup. You'll go ahead and insert that, install the bracket, and then secure the tweeter from the back with that stud, and you're good to go. Very easy installation process, and a lot of flexibility from this great budget-friendly speaker lineup. Ben, how about what do you think?
With the recent innovations in the last 2 years, Chris, what else can I say? I'm kind of expecting this. I've been expecting it for some time. It was just a question of time. And to see the trickle down effect technology that is clearly visible from the higher end ES line, I think that presents a lot of value. And I think that dealers are going to notice these and use them as talking points when communicating the quality of these speakers to their customers. One thing I did want to point out is Sony, in its traditional way, always thinks about the installer, and having those 3 different options for tweeter install and the component set, I think speaks volumes as to the design and thought that goes into producing some of these new speakers that Sony is offering. Now, I didn't hear you talk about bass, and I can't let you come on to CMA and not talk about bass. So tell me that GS also represents some new subwoofer options.
Yeah, man, of course we've got some bass, right? I mean, no good audio system can be without a subwoofer, right? So we always provide really great, kind of almost undiscovered subwoofers. It's kind of amazing, right? So it's Sony doesn't get thought of as a speaker or subwoofer or sometimes even an amplifier company. I think we kind of shook the tree a little bit with our Mobile ES products, and we've reestablished some of that concept with both retailers and consumers out there. I think that there's been a lot of people that have rediscovered Sony as an audio company and not just a head unit company, right? So that's a big deal for us. I mean, it's a really big accomplishment. It's a lot of effort, right, that's gone into it. The Mobile ES lineup, from head unit to speaker to subwoofer and amplifier, you've got the full lineup. And you now have that with the GS lineup as well. We still have some GS head units out there. We do have the GS amplifiers. We've just talked about the speakers, and here we're going to talk about the subwoofers. So we've got 2 great subwoofer options at the GS level. So we've got a 10-inch sub, and these follow our naming convention. We like our naming convention a lot. We spend a lot of time even on the model numbers of these, just to make them understandable. So that XSW104GS, that is a Sony subwoofer. That's what the XS and W means. The 10 is it's a 10-inch sub. The 4 means it's a 4 ohm nominal impedance. And of course, the GS means it's part of our GS series. For those of you that are Mobile ES retailers or have heard about our Mobile ES product, you'll recognize the only difference in this model number and our Mobile ES 10-inch sub is the ES and the GS on the end of that model. So I know it sounds kind of silly, but the nomenclature for our models is really a big deal because we're trying to make it simple for both retailers and consumers to understand what they're buying or what they're selling, right? So it's very quick and easy to identify what you need just by the model number itself. So this 104 GS is, of course, our GS 10-inch sub, peak power of 1500 watts, RMS power is 350 watts, great frequency response, really good sounding sub. You can see the sealed imported enclosure specs on this. I always recommend maybe going above, just slightly above our spec rating on that. We've got a 0.88 cubic foot for a sealed or a 0.91 cubic foot for a ported box. Maybe give that another 5% bigger in most applications. Just the way I like it to sound from the tuning frequency and everything. I think you're going to be in good shape from there. And of course, these subwoofers do have our 3-year warranty. Next up is our 124 GS. So you guessed right, this is a 12-inch sub that has a 4 ohm nominal impedance. Same exact features as our 10-inch sub, of course, a little bit higher power handling rating, a little bit deeper sub, of course, because it's a bigger frame. But that's it. We've got the 104 GS and the 124 GS that should, absolutely supplement our GS speaker lineup pretty wholeheartedly.
I'm pretty excited to hear what these GS subs sound like. I mean, just again, reiterating your message here, the trickle down effect from the higher end series is pretty obvious and pretty exciting for dealers, I believe. I mean, this is going to be a great match for those speakers that you just presented before. So now, dealers, here you have it, a brand new GS series line, complete range of speakers and subwoofers. But wait, there's more. Chris, tell us about the GS amplifiers.
Hey Ben, so yeah, I mean our amplifiers in the GS lineup, they've been around for a while now, and they've been super reliable. They really are probably the best value in the market in terms of price or dollar per watt, in terms of the output side. So we've got several different amplifiers. We've got three different GS amps, a monoblock, of course. We've got a 4 channel and a hybrid 5/6 channel amp that, of course, can be bridged down to run a subwoofer off of it that is Bluetooth capable. So we can go ahead and show our slides here. So with our GS lineup, when we originally designed these amplifiers, there was three main core points that we wanted to accomplish, and that was great sound, high durability because these things get abused, right? And then excellent value, right? So profitability for the retailer and a low price point, so the consumer realizes that value of the power output of these things is awesome stuff. So with that, we do have the three different amplifiers. First up, of course, is our GS100, and this thing is kind of an unsung hero. Those Sony retailers of ours that have been doing some of these GS amps have long stood by them. They use them all the time. Great monoblock amplifier, 600 watts, 2 ohm stability coming out of this thing. Just a great amplifier. Very low price point on these, and it's got all of the features that you need in a standard monoblock amplifier. And then our XMGS4 is long been used for high res output. So this was an evolution of our GS400, which preceded it, and both of those amps were high res certified long before high res was even a thing. So the frequency response on this amplifier is 10 hertz to 100 kilohertz. So it will play back anything that you could possibly give it from any source unit that you've got in the vehicle. Okay, so it is a high res certified amplifier, and same price point typically as the GS100 is, but you've got 4 channels, and these make great complements to our new GS speakers that we've introduced. So the power rating and the output of these amplifiers matches very well with the new GS speakers and subs. And then the kind of the undiscovered hero has been for a long time is our XMGS6 DSP amplifier. This is a Bluetooth capable amp. Again, a great complement for our GS speakers and subs. Same exact power output that you're looking for those. This actually has the same power output of our GS100 monoblock amp inside it. Slightly lower power than our GS4 on the 4 channels of output, but plenty adequate for our GS series speakers or for most applications in a vehicle. And that Bluetooth capability allows you to use our Sony Music Center app. So you can remotely send music directly to the amp. So you don't necessarily even need a head unit in the vehicle. This could go into a boat in a protected cabinet or something, or maybe even a UTV if it's not a place that's going to get weather, effect on it. These can go in classic cars. That's probably one of the biggest uses for this amplifier is in classic cars or vehicles where the radio can't be replaced. People are putting these behind a panel in the back or maybe even under a seat, and they're able to stream directly to the amplifier to run their complete system. And the amp does indeed have a DSP on it. Simple, it's only time alignment, pretty simple stuff, and it does have an onboard EQ, so you can connect or stream any source to it and set the EQ on board the amplifier for the same consistent output no matter what you've got into it. And a very unique feature on this one is it does have a steering wheel control input. So in those applications like on a boat or in a classic car where you've got an external remote somewhere, you can actually control the volume, track up and down, and a couple other sources, or like the source selection on it, just by using the steering wheel control input from that third party remote that's outside it. So lots of cool functionality there, lots of flexibility. Like I said, this is kind of an undiscovered gem. We've had it for quite a few years out there. All three of these amplifiers have a 3-year warranty. So everything in our GS lineup, along with our Mobile ES lineup, has a 3-year warranty. That tells you that Sony stands behind the product and the performance for a long time. It should give your consumer confidence when you're recommending this product and you bring that up. They that confidence is instilled because they think it's going to be reliable. All right. And with that, what do you think, man? I think Sony GS and is a great complement to our Sony Mobile ES lineup, and I think the retailers are going to be all set with this stuff.
If anything, Sony has certainly delivered on the following, and that is take technology and innovation that they found success with and now integrate it and develop a line that's more for the masses, that comes in at a more attractive budgetary price point, but have the applications for everyday installs. And I think that's the key for the GS line. It's part of that core product. So what final message do you have, Chris, now that the new GS series of speakers is here, that dealers need to understand?
Yeah, Ben, that's a great question. So the first things first, I think that the retailers need to get these things in stock, right? They've got to hear them, they've got to get them on display, get them into a demo car, and let's show off what Sony has become, right? So, like I said, a couple years back, we relaunched Mobile ES, and there's a lot of fanfare around it, and we've got a lot of really great Mobile ES retailers around the world actually that are selling the Mobile ES products effectively. And for a while, we were missing that chunk in the mid-level tier, right? So we had our entry-level speakers, and we had our Mobile ES, and we were kind of missing that mid-grade, right? So with this reintroduction of the Sony GS product on the speakers and the sub, what we've got now is that full lineup now. So no matter what your level as a Sony retailer is, maybe you're just kind of OEM replacing things. Maybe you've got that mid-level customer that has kind of been looking for Sony product at that level, but not been able to find it. Or maybe you're a high-end retailer that's selling Mobile ES, but needs something else to maybe supplement the customers that are not quite at that budget level for the Mobile ES product. We can now cover you no matter what the situation is. And with that 3-year warranty and the support and the training that we give behind the scenes, I think there's a lot of good reason that our retailers need to step up, carry the Sony name, and wave the flag a little bit more for the consumers.
That was Sony product expert KRIS BullA giving us all the details on the brand new GS series from Sony. Now, if you're interested in finding out more information, I do encourage you to check out their official website, as you can see here on the screen. Now, if you happen to be a Canadian dealer tuning in and you're like, yep, I need some of that Sony goodness, then you need to know their Canadian distributor is, in fact, Gentech International. So on that note, I'd like to welcome to our show today, Gord Brown, who's going to give us a little bit of Canadian perspective. Now, Gord, this is obviously a huge step towards offering a complete line to our dealers. What are some of the benefits that you really want to outline coming out of this new GS speaker launch?
Hi, Ben. Thanks for having us back. You know what? Chris really hit the nail on the head when it came to discussion about all the wonderful features and benefits that GS has got. Sony's really delivered on this package for us, and we're really happy to have it. Really solidifies that GS lineup from top to bottom for us. Quite frankly, when you look at it from a feature benefit, a performance benefit, and that incredible 3-year warranty so that your dealers, your salespeople, your customers all have that confidence in the brand, I really think it just delivers the message and brings it home.
And finally, Gord, now with the introduction of this GS series line, how do you feel that Sony has completed the task and is now arguably an ideal partner from a full line perspective to any retailer out there?
Hey, Ben, you know what? You're exactly right. And, let's face it, there's no reason that you have to really explain the Sony brand. Every customer knows what Sony represents and what they're going to bring to the table. But reality is now we have 2 very distinct lines from ES and GS series. And whether your customer is looking for that flagship or they're just looking to upgrade their factory system to have better sound, Sony delivers as a one-stop solution to be able to do everything from the head units to the amplifiers to the speakers to the subwoofers, and do it in a way that the customers know that it's confidently going to do what they expect. It's going to sound good, it's going to look good, and it's going to last them a long time.
Well, I want to take this opportunity and thank my guests who came in today, both KRIS BULLA from Sony as well as Gord Brown representing Gentech. And in my final thoughts, I mean, what is there to say? Sony has been on an absolute rampage developing and innovating some really cool product for the last 2 years, especially with the relaunch of the mobile ES line. You guys know the head units, the speakers, the amps. But now to see that technology and that design style, trickle down into this more economical format in the GS series, there is no argument. It is going to be tough to debate whether or not Sony can be that ultimate partner of yours when it comes to providing all categories on all fronts. Now, back that with the incredible warranty that they're providing at 3 years to give you confidence to sell to your customer and the confidence for the customer to buy. That's definitely one to chew on. That's it for this CMA Networks brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM with over 150 channels in your vehicle. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video on Demand. What you love is on now.